We see BP picking up the Clockwork, the Potom, the Vengeful Spirit, Sniper, and Tide Hunter. We're going to see Sniper going bottom with a Tide Hunter who's picking up the wards here. So Tide Hunter is going to be laying down wards and then joining Sniper bottom. And we're going to see a Vengeful Spirit also joining Sniper bottom to complete the tri-lane, to babysit the Sniper, to allow him to try and get up some of the charm. He's picking up the Ring of Basilius, which means he's probably going to be leveling his Shrapnel quite in the early game, which will deal high DPS and will be quite effective with the slow of Bandit, as well as the stun of Vengeful Spirit and the extra DPS that Vengeful Spirit will provide to the Sniper in the bottom lane. So Sniper should be getting up some good DPS here, and also using the slow both as for protection, also picking up the Ring of Basilius to make him a bit more beefy, because he's quite low HP hero against the very high magical damage dealing side of Scourge here, so that Ring of Protection just to make him a bit more tank. Obviously it doesn't really help against magical damage, but it still does help out, you know, against creeps and harassing and that sort of thing in the early game. Make sure you don't take too much extra damage without not having enough armor. So he's going to go bot lane with the Vengeful Spirit, best support hero in the game, one of my favorite heroes. I'm not really going to talk about him. And with this Tide Hunter. I'm hoping Tide Hunter doesn't roam too much. I've seen roaming Tide Hunters. I really don't like it. Tide Hunter should stay in the lane, get his boots up, get his ulti up, and then start to be effective in terms of roaming then. When he's roaming on level 1 or 2, that gosh, it's really more of an annoyance than anything else. Unless he's roaming with the Vengeful Spirit as well. Two of them roaming and they're going to get a kill off gang, that becomes effective. But a Tide Hunter roaming by himself or leaving the lane by himself isn't effective, and he's not tank enough to be useful. So I really hope he stays in the lane and gets up his level 6 quite quickly. Baby Knight is going to be soloing mid against the lineup of us, probably against a Storm or against a Tiny, who are going to be, one of those two might be soloing mid. So he's probably going to want to pick up his Lincoln Sphere, his Diffusal Blade, or his BKB. BKB, probably one of the preference items in this game, because pretty much all of the damage that is going to be dealt to him by the Scourge lineup is pure magical damage, and so having a BKB will allow him to tank a lot of that. Lincoln Sphere will obviously make him quite a much more of a beefy hero, and also provide him with a lot more protection. With so many disablers, however, a BKB and a Lincoln Sphere is preferable, because you dodge a lot of that, and a BKB is obviously a greater preference to Lincoln Sphere because it gives you damage as well as HP, as well as a block against all the nukes on the Scourge lineup. He could however pick up a Diffusal Blade later on for, you know, mana drain against the Tiny, against the Storm here, and against its AA, because that sort of renders them useless. If a Storm doesn't have mana, then he can't zip in and out of battles, and so that'll make Baby Knight a very effective hero in stopping Scourge pulling off some insane long-range initiations on the Sentinel team here. Clockwork, we're going to see soloing top. He's picked up his Stout Shield and his 2 regenerative items. He's probably also going to pick up a Ring of Basilius, so somebody can spam those rockets most of the game. He can solo quite effectively, and what I'm hoping he's going to do is he's going to pick up his Hood, pick up a Vanguard Hood, somebody just to tank all the magical damage of Scourge. So maybe they're giving him the top lane so he can farm up quite early and then start to counter-gang onto the Scourge team. The Sentinel team, as well as the Scourge team, can be quite effective in terms of pulling off gangs and pulling off team fights. The Scourge definitely has a better team fight lineup and a better ganging lineup, but at the same time, Clockwork, Vengeful Spirit, Potom, as well as this Tide Hunter, all are roaming and ganging heroes, so they do have that capability, so don't rule them out against that at all. Right, finished talking about that, let's talk about the Scourge team here. We're going to have Tiny probably going in tri-lane with Demon and with Crystal Maiden, always going to be soloing mid, and then we'll probably see the Storm solo mid all go in the tri-lane with these two, and we're going to see Playmate, or his King, I think it's Playmate, but King A here, going in the top lane against a Clockwork long lane solo, picking up that magic stick, because it's going to be very effective in terms of taking on those rockets, because every time he rockets, you're obviously going to get an extra charge on your stick, and because he only has 500 HP and 300 mana, a charge, a fully charged wand here will give him basically half his HP and half his mana back, and that makes it super effective. Crystal Maiden, his aura is going to allow all these heroes, these 4 other heroes here, to really spam their spells, and if Tiny goes mid and he gets up some early levels, he's going to become an effective roaming force, being able to stun, toss. If he picks up an early bottle, he's really going to be and harassment late game. Windrunner here is not going to pick up the farm in the tri lane. We're going to be giving it either to Tiny or giving it to Missy on the Storm Panda. But so Missy's going to really play a roaming supporting Windrunner. Not Missy, sorry. Demon's going to play a roaming supporting Windrunner here. And that's going to be really nice to see. I haven't seen a roaming Windrunner in ages, or a supporting Windrunner in ages. And it hasn't really been played like that in the recent times. A Rocket is going to scout out these two heroes going bot lane. And we're going to see Pusher on Crystal Maiden. He's going to be doing his usual thing. You know, Pusher on wards, ward bitch, and that's about it. Pusher, ward bitch, and dying hall. That's about all he does. No shame, Pusher's a great hero. No disrespect to him. I'm going to pause the game here quickly after the Rocket scouts out the storm here. And I'll be back right now. And yeah, that's really the annoyance of Clockwork. He can really just spam these rockets early game, put a lot of harassment down onto here. We see Baby Knight sitting in the bush with Venge, and an arrow's going in, and it's going to hit Demon. Are we going to see a first blood attempt here? No, Revenant being laid down, Shrapnel coming in from the sniper, but Baby Knight just backing off that Revenant and the DPS from those 3 Scourge heroes. Is simply too much to take on early game, and we're just going to see an early game harassment going on here. Nothing much more. Storm just roaming into the bush here. We're going to see Windrunner to go just scouting out, running around here just to go check out the rune here. Baby Knight's going to roam in. Another Rocket coming in to spam. Probably going to hit these heroes here. Just bring them down, bring their HP down a little bit. Really trying to be an annoyance. A ward being put up here by Bandit just to scout out that rune here and to scout out that action in this activity that could be incurred by the MYM early game. And yeah, so the laning phase is going to begin. We're going to see, here we go, we do see the Tiny going against Baby Knight mid. Baby Knight is simply going to harass this Tiny out of the lane simply by right clicking on him, especially in the early parts of leveling, because if Tiny can't lay down a lot of damage in terms of HP, in terms of stunning and tossing, then you know what, he's just going to get pushed out the lane because Baby Knight really has nothing to fear. And we see Pusher and this Demon running into the bush here, putting down some early game harassment onto this Tidehunter, and Pusher puts down the ward. That's great play. 2 heroes here roaming into the bush, leaving Storm, who's perfectly fine at the moment, to put down some damage onto heroes here, using his Revenant to take a last hit here on that creep. So leaving Storm to free farm and then pushing Tidehunter out of the bush here, just to the fact that they can lay down that ward, which allows Windrunner to stand here in these bushes, run quickly. He's going to run, Demon's going to run here, take a small one of these tricksters, take a creep, and then run back here and make sure his presence is felt. Make sure the fact that they know he can lay down a power shot here, lay down a shackle shot. He's going to go back for a second creep now, just so he can level up, presumably, because he just needs one more before he can level up. So he can take off that trickster so he can level up, and then he's going to have a level of power shot and a level of shackle shot under his name. We see Tiny picking up an Invis rune. Tiny wanted top with Invis rune, but he shouldn't have done that. Tiny roaming top with Invis rune is very ineffective, especially in level 1. He's not going to be able to pick off a level 2 or level 3. And we see some early game initiation here. Storm taking a magic missile and a gush to the face. But a great shackle shot here, getting 2 heroes by a Demon and forcing the magical damage being laid down by Pusher and by Demon and by Storm Spirit, making this Vengeful Spirit solve up. Making this Sniper solve up. Like I was saying, Tiny shouldn't really be roaming until he's he's got a few levels and a few CS under his belt, because he's really ineffective then, and he's not going to pick off a level 2 or level 3 Clockwork in the top lane. You really should, pick up Invis rune, that's fine, but just stay mid and don't really need to do anything with it here. Demon putting down a ward over here, Pusher putting down a ward over there, and they're going to go force this Vengeful Spirit. He's trying to do a creep earlier. They're going to bully her out of a lane, say, no you don't, you're not going to be able to do this creep all over here, go away. Great play here by these 2 of these tri-lane heroes. Yeah, that's how you should play a tri-lane, forcing people out of your lane, forcing them away, not allowing, but he is trying to get a creep pull off. He's going to do the long creep pull around here. No, what's he doing? No, he's not going to be able to get that off. And we see a tree being eaten over here by, I think it was by Windrunner, allowing it to stand in the forest here, run out here, get off a power shot, get off a shackle shot, and we see a shackle shot, great shackle shot, again catching one of the heroes against the tree. Demon's being an absolute hero at the moment getting all those things. We see initiation going by Pusher. We can see a counter initiation. They're too close to the tower. Who's going to go in? Someone's going to go in here. Let's see who's going to go in. We see a Gush going onto the Storm Panel. We see a Storm Bolt being taken to the face. Great Shackle Shot catching 2 heroes. But the Titan just dived too deep as well, and he's taken so much fire from Demon and from Missy that in fact he does go down. Great Revenant, great pull there by Storm. Rocket trying to pick off the Storm there, not going down. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Pusher steals the first blood kill. Great last hit, Jake. Guys, being able to last hit with I don't know, 46 base damage, that's impressive. It's a great last hitting there by Pusher. He's feeling pretty chuffed with himself. And yeah, at this point, first blood goes to the Scourge. These 2 heroes picking up a lot of XP against the tri-lane first. So the Scourge tri-lane is on the upper hand at the moment. Pusher picking up the first blood. That's going to be turned into some wards and into a crow. And at that point, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say goodbye, and you can watch the rest of my replay in the next segment of video.